Bonjour fellow racer and welcome. Komakopa here for a new VR track guide video with a little French twist. Let's dive into it and don't forget to like and subscribe.
And today we are at Laguna Seca with its 11 turns in my Porsche 911 in medium tires. And as always, before to start a hot lap, make sure you exit the last turn very nicely. Let's start the track guide. So we're going to turn one, a double left. It's a heavy braking zone and you have to jump on the brake to slow down the car enough. The braking point is that gray patch on your right before the number 3, before the white lane. Heavy braking there. Go down to second and briefly to first to rotate the car. And the nice thing with VR is that you can look through the window to look at the next apex. Go back on second gear and then go back on throttle. Go back to the left of the track and look at the number 2. Right after the number 2, slide brake to slow down the car enough to make that curb and go back on throttle as soon as you can. You should be back on throttle before the red bump. For the next turn, I like to apply brake in between the number 2 and the number 1 to slow down the car enough to just take a little bit of curb. You should be back on throttle way before the red bump. For that next turn, I like to brake in between number 3 and number 2, go down some gear enough to take that turn really smoothly. And the same apply here. You need to be back on throttle at the apex or even before the apex if you can. This next one is the trickiest turn of the whole track for me. I try to brake right before the number 2, enough to slow down the car and dive into the apex and try to go back on throttle before the apex as soon as I can, because then it's a long straight. And now we're going to the corkscrew. It's a really tricky turn. The goal here is not to go as fast as you can through the turn. It's just to try to be consistent, stable, and have a nice exit. What I'm trying to do here is to brake on a straight line. This is really important. Right past the number 4 board and brake as much as you can on a straight line until you arrive almost to the turn. And first gear for the rotation, and then immediately second gear and back on throttle to exit the turn and go to the next one. For this one, I don't have a specific braking point. I try to lift right after the curb on the right starts and maintain good speed and good throttle through the corner. Try to take a line that you can hit the apex and go back on throttle as soon as you can using the whole width of the track. For this next one, just brake at the number 2 or at the beginning of the curb and dive into the apex to go back on throttle before the apex if you can. This is the last turn of the track. Really heavy on the brake at the number 3 board. Nice trail braking to take that last turn at the apex and then go back on throttle as soon as you can using the whole width of the track to go to the finish line as fast as you can. And this is enough for 121.9, which at the time of the recording was close to a top 900. And let's now watch a full lap with keywords to remember all the braking points. Let's go! Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and give a like to the video if you like it. And see you next week for another track guide. Au revoir.